Dungeon Master has placed you in a dreadfully precarious position. You're playing the most phenomenal game ever created. Your skin grows cold from your first glimpse of the enormous beast. It's a product of your imagination. Survival depends on a quick, decisive move. Your choices are limited. Stand and fight, or run. Use your lightning bolt. Victory is yours.
I like that. I like that.
Because this is anybody here 2.5 hours into a game of Monopoly. Here it is. Ready? I quit!
Hello and welcome everyone to our second, hopefully semi-regular podcast discussing all things geekdom called I Like That Too. You may recognize our voices from such podcasts as Positively Star Wars Senate. So welcome to our second spin-off special. Teaming up for this second discussion will be Ricky.
Hello.
And myself, Ryan. So we made it past our first inaugural one discussing the Batman. And it took us some time. I mean, I did win the argument, so everything was fine.
For debate.
So, and this time, it took us a little bit of time to decide what to talk about next. And Ricky and myself got on this huge kick lately of tabletop games.
Yes.
So Ricky had the idea to think, well, maybe we should discuss tabletop games, the things we've started playing, and hopefully eventually lead to anybody listening of any recommendations that they may have for us. So this time, some of the things that we discovered was a new game called, I guess we'll just kick it off with this one. We could just jump to the ones afterwards. But I discovered this game called Disney Villainous. So a tabletop kind of board. Oh, and first, I like to call them tabletop games, not really board games, because board games is your common Milton Bradley.
It has a connotation to it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, that. But board games, all these games that we kind of do are a little bit more advanced, but they're not the super advanced ones, such as full-blown D&D or Gloomhaven, if anybody knows that. So those are very hardcore tabletop games. We're like the beginners is what we're doing here. So the first one we discovered, and it just seemed like a fun Disney game. And the main reason that I wanted to start playing tabletop games was really for the family. I mean, we've all been trapped inside for a couple of years. We've finally been getting out. But I just really wanted to start playing tabletop games because I feel like it's a great way to connect with mostly family and friends if you have anybody that lives nearby. Yeah. So that worked out really well. And I discovered Villainous, and I passed it on to Ricky, and he got it for his family too.
And I bought all the expansion sets for it too.
Yeah, you totally outpaced me on the game, and I believe you have a win, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I did win. I won.
Yeah, I've been doing terrible at home. So I guess this is more of along maybe suggestions to spend more time with friends and family, a little bit more involved games. So, but yeah, this Villainous game.
We're like a big video game family. Like my wife and my daughter and me, we all play Fortnite. We all play Minecraft. We play, so we'll spend hours and hours on TV. So it's nice to have something you can turn off the TV and just sit there and play a game, and it's super fun. So
do you play with like your daughter and wife at the same time playing Fortnite too?
Oh yeah, we trio up, and we sometimes squad up with my brother-in-law and or my nephew, and then we'll just take everybody out. So
do you all separate systems?
Yeah, I play. I have the Xbox Series X, and then my wife plays on the Xbox One that we had before I got the Series X, and then my daughter plays on Switch, and so. And
yeah, we have a Switch too that's separate that works like that.
Yeah, and then my brother-in-law plays on, I think he has a PS5 now. So, yeah. So it's kind of cool. Everybody can, join together and play across, platforms. So I'm glad that's enough.
Probably one of the huge reasons why the game is so big.
Yeah,
so it's easy and accessible.
Yeah, same thing with Minecraft. Minecraft is cross-platform too, but that's like on the Switch, it's kind of hard to kind of link up. It's really like spotty and glitchy.
I've tried playing Minecraft, and honestly, I think that's one of the most difficult games
I love Minecraft.
In the world. Like, it's like, okay, I'm just going to dig for stuff. And they're like, you got to make, I was like, there's no directions. I don't know how to make any of this. So I was, every time my 10-year-old explains to me the game, it's like, I'm so confused in what to do.
It's on my list.
Let me dig.
of things that I used to make fun of that I'm completely obsessed with now. So
Yeah.
seriously, that happens to me a lot, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But like, yeah. So you bought the original Villainous set, which comes with which I don't, if no one's familiar with it, it's basically it's like a card game that you play with opponents, but you do have your own mini game board. And they do have videos of people playing it on I think on Geek and Sundry has a couple of videos that I watch of people doing long games, and a couple other channels too on YouTube. But yeah, it's pretty fun. Basically, you're a Disney villain, and Ryan, which ones are in the original set? I
The
can't remember.
original set was I was totally unprepared for this, but it's
What
like
is it?
the Queen of Hearts, Jafar, Ursula,
Captain Hook,
Captain Hook,
Yeah.
and there's 6 in there. I know I'm forgetting some,
Maleficent.
but these are just
Yeah.
yeah, she's in it. Yeah, these are all just good games to. I mean, you may have to pick up some of the directions and read them to your game because it's not just a pick up, roll dice, and you'll totally understand it. So these are all
it's
really
not like
good
game.
games
It's not like
to
Game
get-
of Life where you just roll it and then go or spin or something. It's
involved
some
with the
strategy.
family, and it will take some planning. So not really exactly for games for kids super young. So, but still, excellent games for the family. But like you were talking about Disney Villainous, it's good, and it's a totally different point of view where you're doing things as the villain. That's what really caught me onto it. Because I was just looking at videos like best games to play co-op, with wife, with one kid type of thing. And it's a multiplayer. You can play with 5 or 6 people.
Yeah.
It does take some time for beginners. How long was your first game, you said?
Well, it's supposed to be 20 minutes per player, and there's 3 of us playing, but we actually took like 3 hours because we were trying to just figuring out the game and trying to figure out the mechanics and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Which,
just the wife and I, it was 2 hours. So.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it was kind of more difficult for you than us because we're used to we play Pokemon TCG, so I'm used to having the cards and keeping track of stuff, and so like you probably came in more cold than I did, but
yeah, what we kind of play most with the family is stuff like Exploding Kittens and Unstable Unicorns, like those type of card games. There's not a lot of planning out, but it's still card games.
I've heard of that.
By the way, those
Exploding
games
Kittens.
oh my god, it's seriously amazing. It's from the same people.
I had a coworker that was that's all she did with her kids on the weekends was play Exploding Kittens. That's what they love to do. And they were like maybe like 10, 13, around that age. So
yeah, it's perfect because I play with a 9 and 10-year-old, and then 15 and 17-year-old play too. It's a very fun game. It's just funny cards. It's about exploding kittens and trying to fuse things. Unstable Unicorns is really the same ways. Pretty much any game by the company that makes Exploding Kittens, you could tell by the art. But
is it like a card? Is it a card game? Like
it's like straight up just a card. It's just a box of cards. That's it.
And you just do the direction on the card.
Yeah. So that's Exploding Kittens. It's you draw bombs by accident, and if you blow up your cats, it's funny. It's a very cartoonish way of doing it. It's not super violent or anything, but it's very comical the way it does it, like diffuse bomb with a laser pointer. So, and you diffuse them and you hope that you don't get the bomb. You could do tricks like look at the cards. You could skip turns thinking that, as you get lower and lower in the deck, it really starts to panic because you're like, oh, wait, there's 3 people left and there's still 2 bombs and there's like 7 cards left. Like, and it gets really crazy. But yeah, it's a really fun game. Unstable Unicorns is very similar where you have to pretty much just get 7 unicorns and put them down in front of you. But you block other characters, you go against other people, you can use,
do any of the unicorns get harmed?
No, there's no pictures of anything like explode. And again, it's just silly unicorns.
No, because my daughter loves unicorns, so that sounds like a perfect game.
Oh, yeah, I play with her 10-year-old all the time, and he finds it hilarious. So I 100% recommend that game too. But yeah, the Disney Villainous one, like we were saying, it's based on the villain. So it's not just a normal board game where you move around. Like you said, there's game cards in front of you, and each person draws cards. And what I really liked about it is you just create a task. So you're almost playing your own game, but then you can slow down other players and play heroes on top of their villains. So
what I did notice, Ryan, was that like when you play with more, probably 2 people will probably be more focused. Playing with 3 people, I kind of got ignored the last game when I won. So because my wife and my daughter were kind of like sabotaging each other. And so meanwhile, I'm sitting there getting everything prepared. incomplete. I'm like,
Okay, yes, you
quietly.
snuck
Yeah.
your win in. You
Yeah.
got to be careful with that because I always do that with some other games when I'll play random exploding kittens. I was like, "You're teaming up against me," and they will. They really will because my wife's son will join up with her and team up against me because it's fun to see Ryan lose. And I'm like, I get my beat all the time in games.
Yeah,
So
it was really fun playing the different characters. Like I said, I did get the expansion sets. So I mean, and it's a different game every time you play, which is, as far as board games go, or tabletop game, like having something you can play multiple times that it's not going to be the same. You don't know what to expect. So, and you can pick different
yeah,
characters.
you're
So
not
yeah.
going around the board and buying houses
Yeah,
and
no,
picking up
because I
cards.
played with the first time I played it was I was Captain Hook, which I totally screwed that one up, so I could have won that game. And then I was Pete the Cat, which I thought was gonna be super lame, but I think that's probably like my favorite character to play with now.
Which is but and
Yeah.
I'm kind of big on like, oh, I can't believe people get DLC for all sorts of games, and what these expansion packs are is pretty much DLC for
Yeah,
board games.
yeah.
And I was like,
It's
man, I
physical
really
DLC.
physical DLC. And I was like, man, pretty much all the games we're going to talk about are exactly like that. So
Yeah,
and that's also the fun thing. It's a core game, and then you have all these expansion packs that really do just take your money, but it
Mhm.
keeps them exactly the same, and they all play perfectly together. So you can buy any one of the Disney specific ones, and you can just play them over top of each other. So, like you said, for Pete the Cat is an expansion pack, or
And they do have
there's
different
also
mechanics for the expansion packs too, so there's added things to do on top of just the regular game. So yeah,
yeah. And
that
then
does
there's
change it up.
spin-offs from the Disney version that's Marvel. So, and that's why anything with brand recognition is an easier way to get kids involved. It's
Mhm.
hard to pick up some games when they don't recognize it, but everyone recognizes Disney. They have a spin-off section specifically just for Marvel villains, and that one's really fun too. That has all sorts of people like Ultron, Thanos,
Yeah,
Killmonger, Loki.
yeah,
So I
Loki.
haven't got any of those just
No, I
because
haven't either.
so much time to spend on the Disney one.
Yeah, I think we'll probably stick to the Disney one for a while. Because I think I still have three more. Because I guess this game came out in what, 2019?
Yeah, it's like 2018, I think, and won like
Yeah,
Game of the Year in
yeah,
2019.
2019. Yeah,
So
which
it's
yeah, it's pretty it's weird that like I never like really paid attention to it, but you know it's just one of those things where if you don't like if you would never suggest it, I would have probably never played it.
oh yeah, I've seen it all the time, and I was like, I don't want to spend like $40 or whatever on it. And
Yeah,
it's like I don't know much about it, but then once I realized it's heavily focused on villains, and it can be co-op, it can be a big family, 6 players. And what really gets me, I guess I'm a sucker for it, is the expansion packs, because then it becomes the collector in me kicks in, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, I gotta find that one.
gotta get
So,
them all.
and then this is a Star Wars spinoff. We try to keep Star Wars minimal to this, but for the people listening from the Star Wars page, it is getting a Star Wars spinoff too, and that's what really kicked it into high gear because it was like, oh, okay, I need to learn how to play this.
Yeah, and that's
And
that's
the
kind of
Star
why I
Wars,
wanted to get into it too, because so like when the Star
yeah,
Wars comes out, I know what's going on. So
yeah, and that's coming really close. It's keeps saying late summer for the Star Wars release, and
it's
that
probably next month.
has
Yeah.
well, it's late summer. I mean, heck, it's
Oh yeah.
July. Heck, it's almost over. So that has Asajj Ventress, Vader, Kylo, Grievous, and Moff Gideon. So
Mhm.
that one we'll definitely be looking at more on our Star Wars section. But Villainous overall, I think, is just a really fun family game. Takes, I think a 10-year-old is a decent age to start learning it. So they will have to read the cards. There
Yeah.
will be some planning kind of thing. So if you do play with your kids, but other than that, any adult that just likes fun Disney or Marvel characters playing separately, it's just a really fun game that you can play with any age group. Like you don't have to play these with kids.
Yeah. No, because there's not really any math in it. It's basically just reading.
Yeah,
From in the
and there is
strategy.
some scheming. Move to a different part of the board, because you have 4 spaces in front of you.
Mhm.
Move to a different part of the board, draw certain cards. You can attack your opponent, and you can start working. And that's the big thing. You can either choose to focus solely on attacking the other player, or just working on yourself and kind of ignoring the other player and trying to complete your task as fast as possible. So there's a ton of different ways to play the game. So that's why I think it's really expansive on it, and it does take a little bit of a time. So if it's just 2 people or 4 people, you will have to set aside a 2-hour block. But on a boring weekend, a little rainy out, I think this is a great game to play.
Yeah, we started. We've been playing them like at 9 at night, and then not finishing till like 12 for 1 in the morning. So
Yeah, that's what we did too. It's like, oh, it's 7 o'clock. We'll just squeeze this in, and then it's like 9 o'clock. We both have to wake up at like 4 a.m. for work. And it's
Oh,
like,
no.
what have we done? This is crazy. But it moves a lot quicker now.
Yeah, I don't know how this game would work if you take it to like a game night with friends or something like that, because it does take some concentration and stuff like that. So you
Yeah,
gotta
like
really want to play the game.
yeah, it is a huge block. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Where games like Exploding Kittens and Unstable Unicorns, those are quick games where you can kind of play and all sit around the table and joke too. There's not too much scheming in those, but it can still be Exploding Kittens, especially. It can still kind of be scheming against the other person. You just draw cards and you try to pass explosives off other people, and you just want to be the last one surviving. So literally everyone else has to blow up, and it's pretty funny. So if you haven't played that, especially if your daughter likes unicorns,
Yeah.
I would grab really both of those games.
Yeah, those card games are getting pretty popular. 'Cause even like I almost pulled the trigger yesterday on starting doing the Star Wars Destiny, which is another card game. But I mean, that's the same thing. You have to buy the base set. It's 2 decks, and then I guess you can buy loose, packs to like add to your deck. And like, I didn't know if I wanted to start a whole nother game like that again, because we already do Pokemon. But I don't
Yeah.
know. Who knows? I mean, we're really into Villainous right now, but in a couple months maybe we'll probably try to mix some other things in. But
Yeah, it has a lot of play to it, and it pretty much almost guarantees 6 levels of play because everyone will want to choose a different character at some
Yeah.
point, and then with each expansion pack.
Well, now I have like 12 or something.
Oh boy, yeah. I was looking at Star Wars Legion the other day, and then I was like, well, let me check on the video of this, and the video's like 45 minutes on how to play, and it's a
You're like, I
3-part
don't have
thing.
time to watch the video to teach me how to play.
Yeah, if I go to learn how to play and it's more than 15 minutes, I'm like, I'm out. So that's why
Hey,
this game.
every time I go to Target, there's always like tons of games that I've never heard of. I'm like, oh, those will be pretty cool to to check out. But then you have to learn how to play it, and then you got to get somebody else to play it with you, which is usually the difficult part.
Yeah, it slows down when you really got to read directions, and it's like then you start playing, you're like, okay, I got to read directions again.
It's not like Kerplunk where you just put the balls in the thing and pull out the straw.
Yeah. What do? You slap the hippo in the butt and you kind of win, and that's about it.
Which those games are fun too. Like I have we have a whole closet full of like old Milton Bradley games and Operation
you can't play
and
Hungry
Battleship.
Hippos.
And,
Can't play Hungry
I
Hippos.
never
for an
had
hour
that
and a
one.
half.
I never had Hungry
You've
Hippos.
never had Hungry Hippos? Were you not a child?
I don't know. I never like. I don't know if it was. See, when I was a kid, I was really into He-Man and really into Ninja Turtles because it was the 80s. So I used to have a He-Man board game that I played all the time. And then there was one that was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one where I wish I could find. I gotta look for it on eBay or something like that. Like the game pieces that basic, spin the thing and move the character around the board, get to the end kind of thing. But the little game pieces of the turtles they had like a little marble stilly in the middle, and they rolled. So I think there was a component to the game where you had to like roll it down the way or something like that. But yeah,
Weeble Wobbles or it had a steel ball in it.
Yeah, it's like they're laying on their belly on the shell and like doing a shell.
Oh my gosh!
Slide. Yeah, but
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, those were those were fun. That and Monopoly. Of course, everybody plays Monopoly when they're.
Yeah, but does anybody really finish Monopoly?
I had a game with my sister-in-law. It was Star Wars Monopoly Episode 1, and we played it for 3 months.
3 months? What?
We kept coming back to it, so we would hang out, play it, and then okay, we're done, and then we'd go back and play it.
Yeah, nobody really plays Monopoly.
Stay there on the counter for a while.
I've tried that with Risk too, so because that could take a long time too.
I've always wanted to try Risk, and I never played it.
I really like it. I usually like games that's kind of chance with a little bit of scheming because I like the luck of rolling dice. So like you'll play that, you attack other states and countries and stuff like that, and then eventually you're just ruler of the world. So that's a really good kind of planning. And it taught me where weird countries like Irkutsk is, so
sure it's not a fictional country. No offense to anyone from Irkutsk.
Yeah, I don't know if it's real or not. So I guess that's the thing about games. So I was like, I should play the Star Wars version with the kid. And I'm like, no, I want him to learn where, I don't know, Madagascar is.
Well, you can watch the cartoon for that.
Yeah, it doesn't. Maybe it does. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, like we used to have like what was it? course, Connect Four and all that stuff. We played all that. I did get a game once for I think it was either for birthday or Christmas. I don't know if it was a family game gift or some uncle or somebody gave it to us, but I think it was called Commodities or something like that. It was the most boring game you would ever play. It was basically the stock market, right?
Oh, geez, I don't want to do that in real life.
Yeah, so I'm like 8 years old, 9 years old. We get this game. Nobody wants to touch it. And of course, I'm sitting there trying to read the instructions, trying to figure it out. I mean, it was very educational. So when high school came around, we started learning about commodities and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I know this stuff.
Head of my class.
Yeah. So yeah, I've looked up to see what that game actually was, and I can't find the exact one, but I don't know, maybe one
I
day.
feel like I've heard it before, but
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like an exciting name.
It's
I'm
not
very
at all. It's not at all.
judge the book by its cover.
No,
Like
I'm
that's
gonna
what
go.
this cover's been.
I'm gonna
It's
go
like
play
commodities.
Mousetrap instead.
Yeah, which I've actually played Mousetrap. So
Oh,
that's a
we
good
have
game.
it. I bought one like during the pandemic. I bought Mousetrap because I always wanted to get a new set and have my daughter play it. And yeah, we played that for like a good month.
Yeah,
It takes a long time to set up that game.
So you mentioned that you and your family plays Pokemon the card game. So
Yes.
I've never really been able to learn or even try to do that. My kid is heavily into Pokemon, collects a lot of cards. I mean, we've all collected cards and Pogs and stuff. But I've always wanted to learn that game, so I just didn't know how difficult it was to pick up something
Yeah.
like Pokemon the card
And
game.
like seriously, like I said, I have a history of things I would make fun of, and then now I'm obsessed with it. So, like when I was like senior year in high school, I guess that's when like Pokemon first came out. Because all the freshman kids had their binders and stuff at school, and we would totally like make fun of them. But like now, I wish I had those binders because they probably have some great cards in there that I would want.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, my daughter started getting them for she got a card here and there. Her first card was like a psychic energy one, and she got it from like a prize box at school in class. Teacher, you grab something from the box if you're being good. So she had got a couple cards that way, and then I think she
She's
started.
giving out Pokemon cards.
Yeah, I guess she had like a grab bag box, and it had like erasers and stuff like that, and pencils, and I guess they had Pokemon cards in it. Probably ones that they found on the floor at school. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like that would happen, and then so because of that, she started watching the anime on Netflix, and she was like maybe 8 or 7 or 8, and she was watching them. No, actually younger than that. 'Cause she was in kindergarten, so she had to have been like 6. Yeah, so then she wanted to get a Build-A-Bear, so then we went to Build-A-Bear. They had a Pikachu. It came with the card too, and so she wanted to start collecting them. I'm like, well, if you're gonna collect these, we're gonna learn how to play because we're just not gonna have a bunch of cards laying around the house because it's a waste.
I have
And
huge
plus, I
boxes
always
of cards.
I always did want to learn how to play a card game because my brother-in-law and his friends would always play Magic the Gathering. We'd go over their house and his buddies in the world would be playing. And it just seemed so foreign to me, and I didn't like where do you start kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's always so intimidating to start something like that where you're with a group of people who know what they're doing and you don't, which was kind of when we started collecting Pokemon cards. I was like, okay, we're gonna start doing this. I looked up a bunch of videos online, how to learn how to build a deck, which I found a really great video from a YouTuber called Real Breaking Nate, who we watch all the time now. So like, yeah, he showed like you just buy this set and then you can add these cards and this is the cheapest way to do it. So then that's what we started doing, and then slowly we started getting more and more cards. And then the good thing with Pokemon trading cards is that you can actually, if you buy a deck or if you buy a pack, they come with these code cards, and you can go online and play the TCG online. And so you enter that code card and it gives you a pack of cards for the online game. And so you can build a separate deck online and you can play against real people, but it's really like good practice, and it shows you like, nope, you can't do that. Yep, you can do that, and it's your move now, and this is how much time you have. So that was really good to help me learn, because honestly, like trying to watch people play it on YouTube was so like hard. And
Seems like there's a lot to it.
complicated. Yeah, there's a lot to it, but I mean, now luckily they have well, at the time they had these little mini sets that were little trainer kits, and they would come with 2 smaller decks of 30 cards, because you actually need 60 for a deck, but these ones had 30 cards, and so they're already pre-made and they're numbered. So each player, so you buy the trainer kit, and you give each player gets one of the decks. They're usually 2 different types of Pokemon, and each person gets a little sheet, and it tells you, okay, you're the first player, Now you put down a card. Okay, you put, second player do this. Now it's your turn. So so that was really like helpful to learn, and it helped us do that. Now they sell the big kits at it's called the Pokemon Battle Academy. You've probably seen them at Target next to all the board games or the Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes with an actual board, like a board game, and it has it shows you where to place the cards and all that good stuff. So, and it has the same thing. It's the same, there's three booklets because there's 3 decks in there. There's 2 beginner ones and an advanced one. And it does show you like how to play. Like you take turns. Okay, first person, this is your turn. Put these cards down. Second person, you're gonna pull this card, and this card's gonna do this. And so it's really helpful. So we ended up buying that later on just because I wanted it. But and we were trying to teach my I think I bought one for my nephew. So because he was getting interested in Pokemon too from Build-A-Bear because they had them at Build-A-Bear. He got a different kind of Pokemon, but yeah. So he was collecting cards for a while. I don't think he caught on to it very much. He's really into Fortnite now. So, but I think he still does collect cards. And like now we got my other niece. She's really into Pokemon right now too. So she's a little older than my daughter, but she's saving her allowance money and going buying, the boxes and stuff like that now. And my daughter helped her build a deck yesterday, and it's
Oh, really? That's good.
Yeah.
You can cross teach like that.
Yeah. So so they were hanging out. They're doing Pokemon battles there. So yeah, I mean it's good to get kids out doing something when they're not just on screen. Which I mean I don't have a problem with video games. I mean I can sit there all day and play video games, but it's a nice little break. And then they we literally have like 9 binders of cards back here.
Wow.
And
So
like
I probably
12
shouldn't
decks of
get
cards.
rid of all those energy cards then.
No, you're gonna need those, which I feel so stupid now because I would go to my local comic book shop and I would go, rifle through their old cards and pull out all the energies. And I even ordered some energy cards from Amazon, which I didn't need to because I have so many now. But when you're starting off, you need that stuff, and you don't realize it. So when my niece, the one that's, I was mentioning right now, we gave her a couple of packs of the extra energy cards that we had because every time you buy the big trainer boxes, the elite trainer boxes, they come with the package set of energy cards so you can build a deck. But with that we started doing that, and then back in 2019 we signed up for the Pokemon League, and at our local comic book shop every Sunday they'd have Pokemon League. You sign in, and then it would be pretty cool because they had like raffles. You'd get a number, and like my wife won a pack when we were there, and she ended up pulling like a rainbow rare card, which was awesome. And then we got like some dice and coins for free and stuff like that. So yeah, so every time we win, like they we would get prizes and stuff like that. So, and then you get to just walk around and ask people, hey, you want to play? Of course I sit down with this guy who's he was probably like in his late 20s, early 30s, and he had a mat and everything and pins, and I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna kill me. So yeah, I got totally creamed.
In the rules that you have to have so many energy matched up with so many like characters, like okay, you can have, you said 60, so
yeah,
30 energy cards and 30 whatever Pokemon.
Yeah, so basically you can have as many of whatever you want, except you can only have 4 of each type of Pokemon cards. So you can't have like 5 Pikachus that just say Pikachu. But if you have like there's ones called V cards, which are the overpowered ones. So you can have like 4 Pikachu Vs and 4 regular Pikachus, but you can't have 5 Pikachu Vs and 5, So there's a limit to 4 of each Pokemon. Energy cards.
What about when it's a different Pikachu, like Surfing Pikachu?
Yeah, if the name's different, then that's fine. You can as long as the name reads different, then it's a different Pokemon. And you can have you can. I think there's probably like 6 different types of Pikachus. You can have all of them in there as long as there's only 4 of each. So,
I think that's one of the trainer boxes. It's a big fat Pikachu. And I was like,
they had the Celebrations pack that came out, and there's one that came out with it actually had like a statue of the big giant Pikachu in the middle, which I wanted to get that and I missed out on it. But yeah, so you can add as many Pokemon as you want, as long as there's only 4 of each. There's trainer cards which help you accomplish things, and the energy cards are basically like help you do the moves. So if you have like a Pikachu card and you have Thunderbolt for one of your moves and it takes 2 energy cards, you can't use that move until you have 2 energy cards attached to that Pokemon. So you're going to want to have enough energy cards in there to power your deck. But yeah, no, it's once you get into the rhythm of like, okay, I have this card, I need to power it with this, and then you can figure out on your own. Like some people only keep like a few energy cards in there, but they have all these trainer cards that let them get ones that get discarded back and stuff like that. I'm not that advanced yet. I usually keep like 20 energy cards in there of different kinds. So
Yeah, I feel like it's something I really want to learn because he has so many, but then it's at the same time he likes to collect them just to collect and
yeah.
trade and stuff like that, and we got to be really careful with that.
And then
But
talking
he's
about like the DLC aspect, like every year they rotate cards out. So I
oh yeah,
learned that
that's the
real
other
quick.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
can you crossplay? Let's say Sun and Moon and whatever another set is.
Yeah, I mean
So
yeah, if you're just playing at home, you can have any card in there. So there's basically standard play, which is there's all the current ones, and there's a list you can find online that tells you which ones are legal for standard, which ones are not. The good thing with the online one, like I said, it'll break it down for you, so it'll just put those ones in there. Expanded does have like whatever's included in standard and older cards. So yeah, so that's definitely you can, and this is all just for tournament and Pokemon League. So if you're playing with somebody that doesn't really care, then the two kids could just have like whatever in their decks and it's fine. The problem with like the older cards is that they're a little weaker now because all the new ones are kind of have different mechanics. But no, well, I have tons of decks that are just expanded and just have everything in there. There's only like certain cards that are super duper. Either they got banned because the mechanics kind of ruined the game, or
they're just overpowered.
yeah, or like it's just something that doesn't work anymore because the other cards that are in there now. So there's some cards that get like banned. They're not really, I don't know what they don't call it, but they're rotated out basically. But I only out of all the cards that I have, there's only maybe like a couple really old cards that I have that I have maybe like 10 cards that I can't use out of all the ones that I have, and I have old and new sets. So, but yeah, it's just, I mean, like I said, if you're playing for fun, it's fine, like you can do whatever. But if you plan on going to tournaments and doing all that stuff, then yeah, you probably want to get like standard deck, or you can do an expanded one because they do have different tournaments for standard and expanded. But no, it's fun. I mean, I now every time we go somewhere to the store, I'm constantly searching for cards, and I actually just bought some today because I picked up my Fortnite issue of Marvel at the comic book shop.
Oh, is that today? Oh, I forgot
Yeah.
today's Wednesday.
Yeah, I know. I did a pull, Ryan. They pulled a
Ooh,
copy
you
for
added
me.
to your pool, huh?
Yeah,
Nice.
I didn't do it for a Star Wars comic, but I did it for Fortnite Marvel.
So yeah, right. I did buy that. I bought that first issue, but I know I have 3 different logins for Fortnite,
Oh.
and I'm afraid to waste this Spider. Or is it Spider?
Yeah, it's a Spider-Man
Spider-Man?
0.
Yeah, I'm afraid to waste the Spider-Man code on a different login because I just randomly gambled and tried one, and it worked. So I cashed in almost all of my Batman ones.
Oh, okay.
But then when I get back to it, I'm like, I don't know if this is the right login. So then
Well,
the
if you
kid's
log
like,
into
"What
that
this
one
Spider-Man?"
on whatever you play on Switch, right?
No, we play on Xbox mainly.
Oh,
I
okay.
just have the Switch to do it
If
also.
you go when you log into that one that has all your Batman stuff on there, on the top right corner, it should have a number up there, and that's your player number. So when you go on your Epic account online, just make sure those numbers match.
I wish it was easier. Like, I wish you could just enter it from the game, That's what drives me crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, make me open up a website. Nobody wants to use websites. I want to use apps.
Oh, that was the thing. Like when we started, because we used to just play Fortnite for free, and then like we started trying to get the the battle passes and all that stuff, and the Fortnite crew. And my daughter had 2 different accounts, one on the Switch and one on the Xbox, and it took a bunch of emails back and forth with Epic to try to get that resolved. But they were really nice, and they finally did fix it. So yeah, so if you ever do have an issue with that, you can just contact them on their email. But
I did email them once when I tried to get that Batman Who Laughs, because I think I said the wrong one. I never heard back from them. Never.
Oh no.
It's the same thing. I was like, I don't know if I signed up on the right account. It definitely wasn't.
Yeah, no, I last week when I went, or last month when I got like all the variants of all the comics. I got the regular, and I think there's 3 variants. So I got 4 total. So I ended up getting, and then I bought the digital copy because I thought you could get the code from the digital copy, which you can't. But they ended up giving it to me anyways because I complained. So I had 5 copies of the comic, and I had 5 different codes for the skins. But I used one, my wife used one, my daughter did, and I gave one to my brother and then my nephew. So so that kind of worked out. But yeah, so I was able to buy all those at the comic book shop. I went today. They only let me take 1 copy. They couldn't even get the variants. Yeah, luckily I had my daughter with me, and she grabbed one for herself. So, but this month was just the Iron Man. What do you call it? For the guns, the wrap.
The jetpack or the?
No, it was a wrap for your weapons in the boat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was Iron Man one.
Yeah, that's the other thing with comics too. Like they have all the digital codes. Marvel does.
Yeah.
And I have to get on a website and enter it and log in And Melissa's like, why don't you just let me? And I already have the Marvel app, so it's like, why don't you just let me take a picture of like the number and you just enter it to my account? I wish things were signed up much easier. Like Fortnite is too. It's like
Oh, even buying V-Bucks from GameStop, because I'll use my $5 rewards from GameStop to buy V-Bucks from them, and I have to
you can
sign
do
on
that.
to them.
I didn't think
Yeah,
you could do that.
yeah, you can. So I sign. Well, hopefully they don't hear it and stop it, but you can do that. But
I used to
no,
buy
yeah, you
pops.
have to go onto GameStop, get the code from their email, sign into your Epic, and then sign into Microsoft, and then send it there, and then it pops up.
Yeah, it really. I was like, why do you have us jump through the hoops? We're already on Fortnite. Just let us go to enter code. All sorts of games have it. I have it for Gears of War. Enter code. Like, yeah, enter it. Sure, why not?
Like, and then we have like the Fortnite crew, so we get like 1,000 V-Bucks every month. My wife is signed up on the Switch, so when she plays on Xbox, that money does not show up on the Xbox. It's only on the Switch. So
Oh no.
yeah,
So
so
she
she
just
wants.
gathering up money.
Yeah, it's like last time she had like 7,000 V-Bucks
Oh, can you give it
on
to
the
somebody?
Switch. Yeah, no, she can log on to the Switch and use it there. So it's
You
just kind of
can't
a
gift
pain.
it for Xbox.
No, I mean she can buy stuff. You can buy stuff for other people. So yeah, she'll do that with my daughter. She'll just like, oh, you want that skin? Okay, I have the money in there. Let me send it to you.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's not bad. Then, as long as you can use it.
Yeah, you can gift purchases on there. You just can't send the actual V-Bucks, but you can like buy something for somebody and send it to them. So yeah.
Yeah, it's
But yeah,
definitely
no,
something we got to learn.
back,
Our local comic shop keeps having learn how to plays, but it's different during school and for work in the
yeah.
afternoons, and now he's on vacation type of stuff. So it's definitely something I want to try and hope
And
it is.
it
Attention
does
span to stick with it.
it was really like intimidating when we first started going to Pokemon leagues. I'm like, oh, these people are gonna be like super good and we're gonna look like fools. But yeah, it was not. Everybody was really nice. It was really nothing like that. So and there was actually the last time we went, because they shut them down for after 2020. I
Yeah.
think they restarted now. I think they just restarted like a couple months ago, or earlier this year. But yeah, no, one of the last times we went, there was like a little girl and her dad, and like she was just learning how to play, and she had to be like maybe 8, 9. But yeah, the
Is there
instructor.
age groups?
No,
Oh, so it's
no,
just
yeah, just
some
whoever.
20-year-old just totally destroys this 8-year-old or what?
Like everybody's really nice. I was playing against some kid that was like kid was kind of annoying, but like playing against him, he thought he was the master of Pokemon. So
You're like, okay, I'm gonna have to show this kid up. Like, oh, we're just having fun. And you're like, now I'm gonna dominate you.
yeah, he's like, why did you have that card in there? I'm like, oh my kid, don't make me destroy you.
Get good.
But he was like, he was like, he wanted to play with everybody. Like some people were just like, oh, I'm gonna play with my friends that I came with, But my daughter was, me as a kid, I could never do this. Like walk around, hey, do you want to play with me? And my daughter was seriously asking everybody, and she had a couple kids that were like, yeah, let's play. Let's
Oh
see.
yeah, my wife's kid's exactly like he gets every time there's a knock on the door, we're just like, hey kid, your friends are here. We don't even check the door anymore. This kid gets friends over every single day. So like literally we have to put a note on the door. It's like, he is on vacation. Please don't, just leave us alone. He's not gonna be here for 2 weeks. So that's what it is. Like,
Yeah, like he
he's
moved.
gone.
He's not here anymore.
Yeah, he's literally with his friends 10 hours a day. So
Yeah.
which is good. I never did that. I lived out in the country. I graduated in school with 80 people. So 90 people. So it's, and I didn't do any of that stuff. Kept my nerddom quiet until you moved out my own. But yeah, if there's a bunch of card games like that and there's just a place to go play, yeah, he would be fine just walking up to anybody and playing.
Yeah.
Heck, he's probably got 6,000 cards in a bin somewhere.
You can make it. Yeah, if you need help making a deck, I can totally like help you. But yeah, it's super easy. I mean, once you get the hang of that stuff and those about when you play it doesn't really take that long. It's not like playing Villainous. So you can either go by really quick if the other person loses right away, or you can really try to drag it out. But no, it's fun, and then like we're watching the anime on that now. We've been for the last few years, we're watching everything chronological order. So I have like 25 years of Pokemon.
Years? You have
Yes.
20 years of content?
25 years of content. I think we're like around 2004, 2005 now, and it started like in 98. So
almost to the year of your child's birth.
yeah, almost. I'm like, hey, I
This
was
is all
watching
before
Revenge
you-
of the Sith at this time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking in my head. I could have been collecting these cards back then. But I was collecting 3 3/4 inch figures. But yeah, like I said, a lot of my games that I have are really Star Wars based. Like I have Star Wars Battleship. I have a few Star Wars Monopolies. Like I have Mandalorian Monopoly, which is basically not Monopoly.
So that's one of the ones that I wanted to talk about too. Was I have the Star Wars Monopoly that I can't find. It's very hard to find. So all the Star Wars Monopolies you have, are they all square, normal Monopoly boards?
Like the big long rectangle. Yeah.
Yeah, I get square, rectangle. Technically, it's
Well,
still a square.
yeah. I have the episode one. I have the traditional, thing, but the Mandalorian one is right angle square. It's just it's a block. So
Because I have this one with a round board, and it's great. I love it. It totally changed my mind on what Monopoly could be, because I was like, okay, I think this was just around the time Force Awakens came out, and it pretty much reestablished my kid. I tried forever to get my son into Star Wars, and it wasn't until the Force Awakens that he really started to watch. Well, now he's a huge prequel fan, and he loves Kenobi, and he almost dislikes the sequels, and I'm like, whatever. So I'm not gonna argue with you. So, but we were at this, what is it, like a ticket place, like a Chuck E. Cheese's, but
oh yeah.
but not a Chuck E. Cheese's. So I ended up, and I picked those games where you can win a ton of tickets, and I sit there all night and I knock those things out. Well, of course, I ended up with like 1,000 tickets, and the rest of the family had like 200 because I'm a boss. But they had this Star Wars
You're like,
Monopoly.
sir, you can't play skee ball anymore.
Try me. So, and he wanted this Monopoly game, so I'm like, sure. I had no idea what it was. But then when I got it home, it was totally different. Like, I suggest this to everybody. It's very hard to find now because it's completely out of print. But instead of like chess and was it chance and chess? Is it? Or chance and I don't know. It sounded weird there for a second. But now it's Sith and Jedi powers. It's light side and dark side powers. And it totally swings the game. The game, there hasn't been a time where I haven't finished the game, because you go around and you have to buy the planets, because it's kind of the same setup. There's 20 planets around, 10, 15 planets around the board. Each planet is 3 spaces, so a lot like Monopoly. But the game changer is the abilities, where you can, and that's all it is. You just buy them all, and whoever has the most planets and sectors at the end wins. It's nothing to do with money. It's just control the galaxy. And again, a dice game, which I like. But I'll have to run downstairs. But yeah, the game has these abilities that really swings it. So if you save it for the last couple turns, it's something like, oh, you can take the most expensive planet your opponent has, or the highest ranked one, or remove all pieces from this planet. And it totally swings the game, because then you don't want to finish the game, because you'll lose if you don't, because you can finish the game, but you lose if you don't have the most planets. Like if you buy the last planet, you're gonna lose. So it's a round game, and it has Kylo, Luke, Vader, and I want to say I think it was before the Rey. They were kind of keeping Rey out of any of the games at this time, so it might have been Finn. I'm gonna hear some shuffling noises here. Yeah, it was Finn. Yeah, so it was Finn and Kylo and Vader and Luke. So it's still like light versus dark side. I would definitely recommend looking it up. It just regularly says Star Wars.
Does it have money, or there's no money component?
Yeah, there's money that looks exactly like Monopoly. So it does play very similar to Monopoly, but it's almost like a round board. And there's really no hotels, because you just claim the planet as, the Republic, or, the Sith and stuff like that, the Galactic Empire. So you have like these cards, like Force Pull, summon any player to your space. And then that's if you're good. Well, if you're bad, it punishes you. Like send player to jail. There's like abilities. Like you can keep the cards and save them for abilities. So, but yeah, it has big changes like that. But yeah, I totally recommend. It's a smaller game. Like I said, it looks exactly like Monopoly, but the board is round, and a lot of the cards almost have powers.
I think I did see that one at the time, like when Force Awakens was coming out, and I didn't grab it because we already had Star Wars Monopoly, and at the time I didn't know that different ones had different variations of gameplay. So I probably would have jumped on it.
Thought that too. I thought it was just normal Monopoly. But then when I started handing out, the light side and the dark side cards, I was like, man, yes, it has go to jail. Yes, it has pass go and stuff like that. So yeah, it is very similar, but what really throws it off is all those ability cards. It changes the entire gameplay.
Yeah, the episode 1 Monopoly that I have, like, it's pretty basically Monopoly. It has the money, the pink and then the green also, but it's has the Republic credit symbol on there. So the Republic credits, the community chest and what's the chance card? The other one, it's one has a picture of young Obi-Wan from episode 1, and the other cards have Darth Maul. So it's like light and dark side. So it tells you which one to pull. And then for it has hotels, and they're the towers from Coruscant. So those are pretty cool, like to have around the board. But the game's getting pretty old and brittle now, and the difference between this and a regular Monopoly game, it's actually like a board where you know how you get the I don't remember how to play I don't think I've ever really played the original one for that long, recently, but all the property cards slide into the board. So when you land on a property and you want to buy it, you pull the card out of the board and you take it. And the same thing with the hotels, they snap into the board. So yeah, so they stay there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but the problem is now those little pegs are getting brittle because the plastic's like 20 some years old. So now they're snapping off. But yeah, and then the pieces that I have are actually metal and they're heavy. So yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool set. And like I said, I got that one when episode 1 came out. Because they had just so much stuff back then. Yeah, so it had like you could be Jar Jar, you could be Darth Maul, but yeah, it's basically the same. The dice, you go to jail, collect go. It was basic Monopoly. So that one doesn't really much of variation, but it's just like it's basically Monopoly with Star Wars skin, but it's a really cool Star Wars skin. The other one I got.
I like when they try to change it up. I think there's like a Fortnite Monopoly that I was looking at.
Yeah, I have it. We have that one.
Does it play differently? Because I was like, man, it seems like it plays differently.
Yeah, it does. I think it's been a while since we played it, but my daughter got it for her birthday last year. We were playing it for a while, but yeah, you have to rebuild your shield and your energy. You can die, so yeah, it's I gotta play that again. It's been a minute, but yeah, it's variation. It's not. I don't think there's any money in that game. You just have little tokens that are your energy and your health. So
okay, yeah, I'm interested in games that play differently, but can be similar.
Mm-hmm. And then the other one I have is the Mandalorian one, and that one has no money, I don't believe, or it might. But the premise of that game, it has bad guys stationed around the board. So Moff Gideon's on there. There's some Death Troopers and stuff like that around the board. And if you run into those, you have to like do some kind of battle with them. I don't remember if it's with dice or what. We've only played it a couple times because it was super like hard to like learn how to play it the first time. Just because it was completely different. And like you basically you have to get Grogu because he's being bountied. And so the objective is to steal Grogu, and then I think you have to make it somewhere to like a safe spot. So
I didn't know it was so different. That's just a Mandalorian Monopoly.
Yeah, and then if you lose the battle against the bad guys that are stationed around, then they get Grogu, and you have to go back around and try to get him again. So, yeah. So you're basically chasing.
You still verse other players, or is it almost like the game is the NPC?
Yeah, the game is the NPC. Yeah, but you can take Grogu from the other player.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think you land on their spot, and you have to roll dice or something like that. But it's been a minute since I played that one. But yeah, that one was like really different. Yeah, and I know my daughter has my niece had the Animal Crossing one, Monopoly, and that one was a little different too. And I know we have the Frozen one, but I've never played the Frozen Monopoly. We have like 5 or 6 different ones, and then I have original Monopoly, which I've never even opened the box. So. Yeah, those games are long. They are really long.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I say no one really plays Monopoly. But another game that really kind of got, because when I got Villainous, I also found this other game called Unmatched, which seems like a very new game that's only been out for like 2 years. So I don't know if you've heard of this or seen it.
I've seen it on. Now that you told me a couple weeks ago, I looked it up on Target and I did see the boxes there. I think they had like, well, I mean, you can explain it, but they had like a couple different characters that you could buy or something.
Yeah,
like that.
So that one I discovered too. And again, that's a good game for 2 or 4 players. You can pay 3, but then it could turn into like a double team scenario. So when you play 4 players, it's 2 teams of 2 to kind of like protect your team type of thing. But this is the game that really got me crazy. And of course it has a lot of physical DLC. And I ended up getting like 6 games like within the past month. It's a board. It's just a big board full of circles, and in the scenario of 2 players, you each have a hero, and they may or may not have a small token sidekick, and you play cards you maneuver around the board and you get cards, and then you can use those cards to scheme against your teammate, against your opponent, and that's usually like boost, move next to them, gain actions, and then attack. So there's attack, a defense, then you have defense cards. So it's still a card draw game, so it's luck of the deck where it's like 30. But some of the heroes are great. And that's the other great thing is all these games can play together. So they have non-IP characters like Medusa, Sinbad, Alice in Wonderland, King Arthur, Dracula.
I saw a Beowulf one, I think.
Yeah, Dracula, Sherlock Holmes, Invisible Man, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Those are 2 separate ones, of the characters not in the, I guess, physical domain, or like Disney, they don't own that. They own that. But then there is ones based on IP. So they have a bunch of Marvel sets. They're a little bit more expensive. And I've personally been avoiding them just because I don't want it to turn into like a Marvel minifigure thing. So, but they have like Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, Daredevil.
So do they come with little figures or just strictly cards?
They do. They come with minifigs because and that's the big thing with the fans is that you can paint all the minifigs. And I'm trying to learn how to paint, but oh boy, like I don't have the skill for depth and stuff like that. So again, it's like my comic shop has these $5 classes, so I'm going to try to figure that out.
That seems to be like a big drawing point for some people with the bigger games like that. Like I think I mentioned Warhammer before. Like there's a Warhammer shop by my house, and they have a bunch of paints and stuff, and
that's where all the paint comes from, is painting those minifigs. So it has a lot of just regular gray minifigs that people paint. And one of the sets I bought used, the dude painted them all. So, and it's like the amount of skill that these people have, it's just crazy. And then they also have other sets. They have 2 Jurassic Park sets. So they have T-Rex versus Dr. Sattler with Malcolm, the guy who leans over the shirt off. That's one set, which is a weird thing. You're like Dr. Sattler versus Dracula, because you can mix and match all these. But then the other one is Robert Muldoon, shoot that guy.
Oh yeah,
versus versus the Raptors. So then you have like 3 Raptors that you can mix and match. So I can do like Raptors versus Sherlock Holmes, and the game it's really fun. It really is really fun. You can play with. Is easier.
It similar to Villainous, where like you're doing your own thing, or you directly?
No, this is straight up. You need to attack the other people.
Okay, it's kind of more like a Pokemon kind of thing then, where like you.
Yeah, but there is a board. Just imagine a board that's full of almost like dots, but the board is painted. That's the other big thing with this game is if you've seen the boxes, they're very artistic. The back of the cards have like very artistic designs. They're all created by certain artists. All the cards have like certain images like King Arthur and Merlin and stuff like that. Like Alice in Wonderland, you're like, oh, Alice in Wonderland. But she has a huge sword. It's like battle Alice in Wonderland type of thing. And it does come with some planning, like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You have to flip back and forth if you want. Same with Alice. She can take potion to become big and small for more defense or attack. But yeah, you just have cards in your hand. You maneuver and draw cards, and you try to attack the other player and maybe back away. And then the other player tries to either surround you with sidekicks. And, every time you move, you draw cards. So if you attack too much, you're going to run out of cards and just get your butt beat. There's still some planning, but all the characters are so different and so fun. There's different IPs. So if people want to make it Marvel, they can get all sorts of Marvel set. And I think the next Marvel one, I can't remember all the characters, but the next Marvel
probably what
set,
I would do.
the next Marvel set is Teen Spirit, and it's like Miss Marvel, Squirrel Girl, and Cloak and Dagger. So, and it just seems like fun like that. So you can have Ghost Rider, you can have all the Marvel characters. I have no idea how long they have the permission to print them type of stuff, but yeah, they're really good. Yeah, they're still really good. So that's a really fun game that I would totally recommend. It gets people into minifigs, and you could just cross battle. Again, it's DLC, which apparently I'm getting into.
It does sound a lot like Pokemon, because the same thing. You run out of cards and you're done. You lose automatically if you're.
Yeah, that's how it is too. So you have like this 30 cards, And if you use all 30, it's called exhaustion. So you can't reshuffle and get back into it. It's every time you now draw a card, you take 2 damage type of thing. So you can't just run the entire game because then you die. Every time you run, you have to draw a card. Oh yeah, and then like you mentioned, Beowulf versus Little Red Robin Hood, which Little Red Robin Hood is actually really fierce. She has like this knife, and a lot of her cards are like attack cards. And then they have spin-offs like Bruce Lee, which it's just a single character pack, and I don't know why, but this pack is like $400 now.
Wow.
So yeah, it went out of print. Apparently, Bruce Lee has a big fandom. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't come with, all it is just Bruce Lee and cards, nothing else, no board, because everything comes with boards.
Oh, wow.
So it was really weird.
There's no little mini Bruce Lee figure or anything?
Yeah, there is. He's got like his
there.
thumbs, like it's
cool.
classic Bruce Lee. And I just happened to get that from this guy who sold me the used pack. He's like, yeah, go ahead. And then there's like Bigfoot versus Robin Hood. So it has a lot of weird tie-ins.
Bruce Lee
like
versus Bigfoot would be pretty cool.
I did do that, yeah. I only used Bruce Lee once, and I did Bruce Lee versus Raptors. Oh man, he ripped them apart. Like I decimated them with Bruce Lee. I'm like, maybe I won't use Bruce Lee because he's so powerful. But any one of the bigger games, they're like 4 packs of characters. You buy 2 of them, you can have like 8 characters. So that's definitely a really fun one for kids and family.
It's 2, right? You can't play more than 2. It's a versus, right?
Well, it's still versus. Like I said, you can do, even if you with 3 people, if you wanted to, like one family, you can have, let's say your wife and child can be, 2 characters, and then you can be 2 characters.
Oh, okay.
It just works easier if it's 2 on 2, because if it's 3, which is 1v1v1, you can do, but if someone's strong, it, as with every game, it turns into like a team up. Oh, you attacked me, I'm going to attack you. You attack me, and it can turn into a team up. Well, if it's 2 versus 2 type of thing, it usually ends up better. And if you're controlling 2 people yourself, you take out 1, then that's fine type of thing. But that's the bigger sets where it's 2v2, and that's the max you can play is 4 people. But still, that's plenty.
It kind of sounds like the Star Wars Destiny game I was mentioning, where you do have a player deck, but I think that one you can add to the deck. This one you can't, right? These are just like pre-made, and then
there's no deck expansions. It's the character you have. But the funny thing is that this game was originally a Star Wars game, and they took that idea from a Star Wars game that nobody's remaking. It's called Star Wars Duels. And it was the same thing. You had a card, and you moved a character around, and you'd move the token around to lose health, and you would draw cards. The game's like $300 online now because it's just not being made.
The Bruce Lee set. That's
yeah, and it has such a big fandom that fans create their own card decks. So if you wanted a Star Wars deck, there's tons of them out there that fans created, or anime, or you can buy any minifigure you want and pretty much put them in this game. So the game's really creative. If you like creating, you literally go online, you can create the deck or download somebody else's. You could print them for like $15 and they send you what looks exactly like the real cards. So people put their own image in there, their own art and stuff, and it was really fun. I would at least recommend looking up a how to play Unmatched type of thing, and they usually show through, and that's what really.
Do they sell like a starter set that has like 2 decks, or is it better just to get 2 decks?
Well, like if you get one of the volumes, like I think the 2 best ones is it's called Battle of Legends Volume 1, and it has 4 characters. So, and then obviously you can choose any 2 or 4 that you want to play. But that's that's the first game they release, and it's very straightforward, basic directions. You move, you draw a card, you attack, or you can move again if you don't want to attack somebody. You don't have to. You can attack twice and call it good. It's 2 turns per turn type of thing. So move and attack, or move and move, or attack and tack type of stuff. So, and then Cobble and Fog is another setup on Matched. And that's like Invisible Man, Dracula, Sherlock Holmes, and Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, which are all very, very fun characters to play with. But it's a little bit more advanced just because of the tokens and the way Sherlock plays. I mean, Invisible Man can teleport around the board with his fog. So that game is definitely fun. Has a huge fandom for people who likes minifigs and creating card games. It will suck you in a moment.
Yeah, because I know I think what is it? X-Wing or what's that other Alliance? I don't know. There's one of the, every time I go to the card shop by my house, they always have all this whole aisle of just Star Wars ones, and like it has the figures, and I guess those you can customize and paint too. So
Yeah, I think that's Legion because I was looking
maybe.
up. That's the one I was looking up, Legion. And I was like, well, okay, let's see. The starter pack is $120, and each expansion pack of 2 characters is like
Wow.
$40. So I'm like, I don't want to get into this game. It's a little too advanced for me.
Yeah, if these ones are pre-made sets and you don't got to go, find other parts, I might just
No, yeah.
pick up
It
some of the
comes with
Marvel ones.
cards, comes with the figures. You just set them out, and each figure has a special ability. Like Dracula is, if at the start of your turn, your opponent is next to you, you take 1 health because he's Dracula. And the Invisible Man can teleport around the board depending on where his fog is. Sherlock has a lot of guess cards where it's like, okay, if you can guess how strong their card is, it does no attack damage type of stuff. So it is still some planning with cards a little bit, but I would say it's easier to pick up than something like Villainous. So we were able to pick it up really quick, and even our kids
It
started
seems
to
like
play.
it's less pieces and less of a big event kind of type of game.
Yeah,
so.
and you have whatever 1 to 7 cards in your hand, and you just choose what card you want to use. If you're like, okay, I don't have any defense cards, so I'm going to run away to try to draw a defense card because if they attack me, I'm going to be taking huge amounts of damage.
Yeah,
So
that might be something that my daughter might be interested in playing with me. If it's like characters she knows, she does like Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so like Sherlock, he's fun. Dracula, everyone knows Dracula.
Yeah.
Medusa and Sinbad, King Arthur, Alice, like the Jurassic Park ones. And that's the cool thing. You could buy any one of them. Like I said, I did Raptors versus Bruce Lee type of thing. So you can mix and match. I did Dracula versus Alice in Wonderland.
She likes Jurassic Park too, so I think she'd probably be the Raptor.
Yeah, and I think the Raptor one is a little bit harder to find because that got really popular. But you can do the giant T-Rex, yeah. And then, but I've seen a whole stack of them at my Barnes and Noble. And if you find there's also a Deadpool. So much like Bruce Lee is a single character, there's Deadpool too. And that one goes for like $50 online, but at Barnes and Noble they still have them every once in a while. So realistically,
I didn't check there. I've actually been to Barnes and Noble the last couple weeks, and I forgot to look there I was looking for Pokemon stuff and Villainous things when we went last time, so I didn't really pay attention to the Unmatched. So
even call, and this might be like giving away a secret to a lot of people, but I called my Barnes and Noble in the state that I live, and they called a 3-state area, and only northeast of part of my section of our state had it, and they mailed it to me, and I was like, yeah, but it was like $20, and I think sells for $50 online. I'm not planning on reselling it right now, but I'm also not planning on opening it. It's Deadpool. I was like, I'm not planning on opening it either. I'm hoping to just bump into Rob Layfield, and because there's a part where obviously it's Deadpool, so he plays really ridiculously. Like, if there's food on the table, this card's attack is worth 5. And I'm like, I don't like hectic things like that because it stresses me out. But then one of them is, if your opponent's name is on this card, it's worth 5. If their name isn't, write their name on it. And I'm like, I'm gonna find Rob Layfield and have him sign this card, which is probably impossible and will cost like $100.
I think he goes to conventions. I'm not sure.
Not around me, so.
Yeah, we have a few Barnes and Nobles around here, so I'll have to try to look those up. Yeah, because I had actually looked online at the Barnes and Noble that was nearest me when I was looking for the expansion sets for Villainous. I think I was looking for the Cruella Deville one, the one that had her in the front. Yeah. So we went, and to my chagrin, they did not have it in the section. I was looking, I'm like, they have every other one except that one. And the only reason I went there, they were more expensive there than they were at Target, but they were supposed to be there. So I'm looking like it's got to be here. And I was gonna go look for somebody to see if they could find it in the back or something. I ended up pulling out a couple of them from. I think I pulled out the one that has Syndrome on it and the Gaston one, and it was behind those. And so I was like, okay, good, they did have it.
I want the Gaston one. I always like Gaston. He seems like a real good villain.
I might get that one next. Yeah, I might get that one next.
Or what is it? It's the one my wife loves the character. I forgot his name, but with the David Spade, and he's a llama.
Oh yeah, it's Yzma from Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, Emperor's New Groove. Yeah, apparently that character is really funny to play.
Is that one in the Gaston one?
I don't know if that's in Gaston. I don't think so.
Maybe.
I can't remember where it is, but I know that's Yzma. Yzma is one of the characters I'm looking for.
See, and that was I've seen it. We because I had got the the one that had the evil queen, and then it had, I think that one did have the Cruella in it and stuff like that. And who was the other one? Hades, I think it was Hades from
Okay.
Hercules. And I got like, well, I'll be the evil queen then. And I wasn't really too enthused about it, but I didn't realize that if you're playing that villain, you get everybody from the movie. So I had the dwarfs in there and Snow White. It was cool, like I didn't realize that, and the huntsman and all that stuff. So I'm even with the one that has I think the wicked stepmother from Cinderella. I'm like, well, that seems kind of boring. But then I guess you get the mice and you get Cinderella and everybody in there, so that'd
Yeah.
probably be a pretty fun one to play.
Yeah, I'm shocked in how really big it is, and the fact that it's expanding is really helping even more. I think
Oh,
there's
the
only
Star Wars
two
one's gonna
Marvel
be awesome.
sets. Yeah, there's two Marvel sets, I think.
No,
which
there's
I'm kind of-
three. I think I saw
Is there?
3. Yeah, I'll have to
I
look.
looked, only find the Loki set and the main set. I couldn't
There's
see
one that has Loki's sister, and I think there was another one. Unless I come to
Hela.
the base.
Hela's in the main set.
Oh, is she in the main set? Okay.
Yeah, because that's
Maybe there was
Taskmaster,
2 then.
Ultron, Thanos, Killmonger, and Hela.
Hmm.
And then the Loki set is Loki, MODOK, and Madam Mask. Again, I just did a quick Google for Marvel villainous, and it
And I'm
was
wondering-
only so unless there's a third one that's really rare.
I just wonder what kind of characters are in there as their heroes. So that'd be kind of cool. Because
For which
you know
one?
what, I was thinking of any of them, because I was like, oh, those aren't really like big time villains, for Marvel, except for Loki. But I'm like, well, I guess you would, if you had the Hela deck, you would have Thor fighting against her, so that'd be kind of cool,
Yeah, I really wish they would cross over though, because I think it would be funny to do
He's a Cruella versus
Captain Hook versus Taskmaster or something. But
that'd
they
be
all
great.
play a little bit different. The Star Wars one obviously will have. If you don't have Palpatine in the first set, you're obviously planning an expansion. And like, well, you got my money at least 2 times.
There's so many characters they could use for that. Yeah, I think we're gonna hold off on getting the Marvel set until we get the Star Wars one. Like maybe like if there's a pause in between them making expansions for that one, we might end up getting the Marvel one. But as of right now, I got like 3 boxes of villainous in the 3 or 4
Yeah,
boxes.
it's like I have this big pile of games. I bought like Jumanji at a garage sale, Battleship, trying to play all these games. And then the kid goes on vacation, and then I'm going to visit family, and it's like, man, we don't have much time to play games.
It's funny when my daughter and my nieces, when they were younger and they had the Jumanji game, they packed bags and stuff before they were gonna play because they thought they were actually gonna get sucked into the game like the movie.
Yeah, right. It's like
No,
we
they
go to
did.
play
It was
this
so
game.
cute. I'm like, oh, they're having
rip-off.
fun with this game. Yeah, the game's not working. We didn't get put into the game. I'm like, oh.
Misrepresentation movie.
But they had so much fun playing it though. So and that's the thing, if you get a game and you're like, yeah, it's not your cup of tea, then probably like it's not for you, or maybe you just need to get better people to play with. But
so, have you ever played something big like Dungeons and Dragons?
I've never played any like RPG games where you have to read scripts and do all that stuff. It just seems so like out there and like beyond my grasp.
Well, I'm really good at telling stories. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the game where you just roll 6 dice and you have to tell a story on the dice.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is. You just roll and it's like a star or a castle.
Yeah,
and
just from watching Stranger Things is where I've kind of picked up, and watching what's that show that was on YouTube that got popular where they're
Critical
playing.
Role.
Yeah, Critical Role. I've seen like clips of that, so I'm like, okay, that's what this game.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. So I tried getting into Dungeons and Dragons, and I can't get past the character creation. So which was always a problem on main games, like Mortal Kombat. I would spend weeks creating a character and be like, okay, I'm good. And that's it. So I can't get past the character creation for it. My daughter plays it a lot. But again, it's another dice type game that I like playing. But I did find this one called Dungeons and Dragons Adventure Begins. It's a very, very beginner set and extremely easy to pick up. And it has 4 pre-created characters with pre-created powers. So it's, a side 1 and then like a level 2. And, it's the usual. It's the wizard, the dwarf, the archer, and the mage or whatever. That's it, the main characters. And then you have these 4 boards that you put out in any order you want. And each one you just draw cards for monsters or actions. And then the end of the game, there's like a really big villain, like the one with all the little tentacle arms and stuff, and a giant dragon, a giant cyclops, that has huge amount of hit points type of stuff.
Hmm.
But I definitely recommend this game. It's nothing like a full blown D&D, but if
But
you
do you have
like,
to sit there and like read the scripts and act stuff out and everything? Is it the
no,
same
I
kind of
mean,
thing?
I try to. It gets the kids and family very creative because I'll play as the dungeon master every time,
Mhm.
but I also play in the game. I think it's only up to 4 players, but then 5 if someone is the assigned dungeon master. And it really doesn't tell you any stories. It's just, would you like to continue straight down the board or go off the side and automatically fight a villain? You would never just fight a monster right at the beginning because you'd probably all get slaughtered. Because you pick up stuff like items, but you literally just pull a card out. Each board is only like 4 circles, and then a final boss. It's the henchman of the main boss, but you still try to make it into a story. So it's like, okay, when I sit with the family, and seriously, the wife, the kids, everything loves it because I'll turn it into a story, and then I'll make them tell me how they use the maneuver. It's like, okay, this monster appeared out of the woods, after we just finished talking to people in the inn. It's still a dark night. And I'll just pull a card, and the card will be like, that's the spot that you're in. And it's either a troll comes out and talks to you and it asks for your help. Do you trust it? Yes or no? And each individual person will say yes or no. And as the dungeon master, you just reveal what the card says.
Okay.
So,
but
it
doesn't have the component where you have to make up your own stories like you do if you're the actual dungeon master in the full game.
No,
they're pre-made.
It really doesn't. I mean, the only stories that I kind of create is each board is different, like a dock town, the woods, a castle, and a volcano type of thing, or caves. So that's the only kind of story that I kind of is. But it's a little bit more boring way. It's just pick up the card, read what it says.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a monster here, and then you take turns going in circles, and you have to use a power. But I tell the kids, well, explain to me how you use flaming swords, type of thing. And they're like, okay, because I'm like, okay, the monster just attacked me, so it's not paying attention to you. What do you do? Well, I want to use flaming swords. Okay, you just have to roll higher than a 5 on a 20-sided dice. That's all you have to do. So tell me what you do. And he's like, okay, I light my swords on fire. I jump out behind the rock. And I'm like, roll your dice. And they'll roll. And if it's a hit, and then he's like, and then I chop their arm off. And I'm like, okay, you did 2 damage. And I'll take damage away from it. So it makes them create a story if you make them create a story. If you're just like, okay, what move do you want? I'm going to use magic missile. Okay, roll your dice. You hit. Okay, next player, what do you want to do? But you make it into a game. That's where I'm really good at just BSing through everything. And it's like you create a story. And it's like there's a special ability, like you team up with another player. You all have a backpack card, which just helps to the story. It's like one of the abilities is use something from your backpack to create a move. So they'll be like, okay, I want to use this rope from my backpack, and I'm going to tie it to my flaming swords, or I'm going to use this music box, and I'm going to play music, and I'm going to try to put it to sleep, and then I'm going to shoot my arrows at it. And it's all the characters are created, so everyone has relatively the same moves. It's a weak and a strong, from like a roll 5 and above or 10 and above, or you choose, and you have to choose the move before. So if you end up rolling really high, it's like, well, you chose a quick, easy attack that does 1 damage. Or you can choose like a super high attack where you explain what's going on more. It's more of a creative thing where it's like, and as long as you involve the family and you almost force them to tell the story, like, how do you want to attack this? And then once you beat the monster, you're like, boy, that was a rough battle. We've reached the end of this board. We're going to refresh. We're going to turn all our special abilities back over. And now someone in the village told us we should continue on to this volcano cavern. And then you just go and you just draw a card, or that's it. You just draw a card. It'll say, talk to somebody or fight a monster or guess something and then move to the next spot. But if you can create a story out of it, it's great. I mean, it came down to the point where my son landed the very last blow on the main monster, and literally the entire table was cheering. It's 2 kids, it's like 3 kids, the wife and me, and it was like, and he's like, okay, I jump off the tree, and here's the funny thing, it's like he'll try this same maneuver over and over again, and he'll fail at it through. And it's just a regular roll higher than 10. I'm going to choose my strong attack. Well, you have to roll higher than a 10 to do it. okay. And he keeps telling the kind of the same story. I'm going to try this, and I'm going to pull out because he picked a bat friend. You draw a card for items, and it's like giant hammer or a music box that puts them to sleep. And he's like, and I tie it to the hammer, and he lands the biggest critical roll. He hits like a 20, like a natural 20, and he does +1 damage. And I was like, this monster's knocked everybody down. It has 2 hits left. What do you do? And he like tells this crazy story, and he hits it. And he hits exactly what he needs to in the dice. And I was like, you've killed the monster. And the whole like everyone's like, oh my God, like blows up. So as long as you can tell a good story and convince your kids and wife or anybody to tell a story while they're doing, not just say, I choose quick attack.
Yeah, you're not
What are
making
you gonna
land.
do
You
with
gotta make it exciting. Yeah.
What's this troll going to do? Well, and of course it gets weird with a bunch of 10-year-olds where they're like, I'm going to jump off the wall and stab him in the butt. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess roll the dice. It's like, oh, caught your knife before you stabbed him in the butt. And then me as dungeon master, I would get to, or anybody. Technically, it's whoever's turn it in is like dungeon master, but let's be honest, I'm much better at telling stories. So I just be dungeon master all the time, type of thing. But yeah, it's anyone who kind of wants to get into D&D,
That's a good start. Yeah.
extremely difficult. Creating characters, figuring out where to do all that stuff. Personally, for me, it may not be difficult for others. My daughter did it just fine, but I have a hard time committing to that because I'm like, but this is my character for life. So D&D Adventure Begins, a great starter game, very good at creating stories. It's dice rolling, so it's very random, and it's a very direct story. You draw cards, it tells you what to do, you move to the next circle, and you create a story out of it.
So do you have to have more than 2 players, or can you just have 2 players?
You can have 1 player if you want.
Oh, wow.
You just tell the story to yourself, and you're just sitting there alone at the table like, I choose Magic Missile by myself, and I hope it hit, and then everyone's looking at you like, what is this guy talking to? But yeah, I've played with the wife.
I've played at your lunch break at work. Oh.
People's like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, I'm trying to beat the Cyclops. So, but yeah, it's totally fun. It's 4 players, 5 if you assign someone to be just a dungeon master, which is still fun. Me who likes telling stories, and sometimes I don't like to get my butt kicked. Sometimes I don't like to crush my kids in games. So I'm happy just to be the storyteller type of thing and move the game along. And plus it helps when, it's hard to find games for 5 people, 3 kids, and, wife and myself. So it works out that me, the one who embellishes everything, tells a story. So and it's a relatively cheap game. It's like $25.
Cool.
So usually on sale for less.
Yeah, there's so many options. There's so many options for games. Even today, I just had delivered. I got some stuff from Prime Day. It was you saw the Star Wars chessboard that I've been looking for, and then there's a Clue game. Yeah, Star Wars Clue, which I have been looking for a couple of years, because they did have it out for a while and then it was gone. But I found that one pretty cheap. So it's we love playing Clue. We started playing Clue maybe like 2 years ago. Yeah. And then my niece, the one that's playing Pokemon now, she got into it too. So then we got her a board. I think for Christmas last year, we got her a set. But her and my daughter play that all the time, and it's just my wife beats us every time we all play. But
really,
but this one's I guess you're trying to find the Death Star plans and try to thwart Darth Vader's plans, so you're not finding a dead body or anything like that. It's more Star Wars. Out. Yeah, and then it's like 3D like board, so it looks like the inside of the Death Star, I think. So
that's what I was most impressed about. You built the game up type of thing. Yeah. I was like, wow.
So I gotta go build that
Susan to play that
today. We're gonna play that today. So
yeah, you can put it on like a Lazy Susan and spin it around on the table.
I have one, so we can totally do that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't, because I'm like, if I want that side of the mashed potato bowl, I'm just gonna scoop that side. I don't need a Lazy Susan. So now I might need one. And then the wife will yell at me. I've been telling you for years you need a Lazy Susan. Now you get it for Star Wars. I'm like, Ricky told me to.
You need it. You need it for your board game.
Yeah. Why does Ricky always tell you to get things? I'm like, oh no.
Like I made him buy 4 sets of Villainous.
Yeah. Where'd you get this, Brian? Oh, him again.
He told me I needed it. I needed Gaston. So it's fun.
So, but all these games I think are great for the family, great for friends and stuff. Gather people around the table rather than just, because it happens at times. We sit around and play around our phone, and it's like, let's do something.
Yeah.
Where we don't want to go outside because it's 110
Oh,
20.
Yeah, under 20 over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
like the other
it's
day. Me and my daughter
neat.
wanted to, like, we get tired of playing the same video games, and just to do something together. So she's like, "Oh, let's play the chessboard we have in there." Okay, like cool. I have like a really old set that's like actually ceramic and wood, and it's
Yeah, I have a glass
conquistadors.
one.
Yeah, it's conquistadors and Mayans, so it's all like decorated and made out of like the different stones and stuff. So that's I've been playing chess since I was like in junior high. That's how much of a nerd that I was.
I've probably played 10 games of chess in my entire life.
Really?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I like chess, but none of my kids want to play it. It's like,
No, I thought my daughter's super young, and I think that's why she likes playing it, because since she was little, she likes the engagement of sitting there getting attention, and for an hour or so when we're playing. So, and now she just likes playing games. So
yeah, and now there's all these other games. Like I said, the D&D one is great to involve the story. And you're a team. You're teaming up against an NPC, the game. Someone has to roll the dice for the villain, but you're still a team. So it's your kid isn't upset if you beat them. They don't mock you relentlessly for 2 weeks because you lost at Uno. Well, you had 3 draw 4 cards, so of course you beat me. So like that. You play together. It's a co-op. It's a true co-op game as that D&D adventure begins, where everything else is you either have to be a villain and stop the other person, or unmatched, you have to beat them down physically. But D&D
for villainous, we make it a big oath. I put the music on, and I set the lights, villain colors and stuff in the living room, and I put the villain soundtracks on. Like
that'll add a lot to it. So yeah, for a true co-op game, I think that D&D Adventure Begins is good, because then you truly are a team.
Yeah.
Or if you throw your child with Captain Hook, it's like, no, that wasn't very nice. It's like, it's Captain Hook for you.
Darn it! Why'd you throw Peter Pan on my board?
Yeah.
All right. No, this is good. Like, we went over a lot of games. It's I'm probably gonna buy more sets when the Star Wars one comes out.
Yeah. So, but if anybody listening has any recommendations on these games or any others, I'm sure they can reach us on some sort of social media platform.
Yeah, we actually do have I Like That Too Facebook group. It's been up for a few years. Actually, I want to say for like 5 years now. But so just look for us on Facebook. It's I Like That Too Facebook group. We're trying to get it more active again now that we have this podcast up. So if you guys want to interact with us on Twitter, you can just use our main page for Positively Star Wars. So it's going to be at PSW Senate. I'm on there all the time, probably too much. And then we also have our Instagram. It's PSW Senate Podcast, and we're also on TikTok. But I'm going to try to post more videos on there. I can do some videos of some of the board game stuff and show them off. Maybe my Monopoly set and stuff like that. So that's at PSW Senate Podcast, and I think that's pretty much all our socials. We do have a Discord. Yeah, we have a Discord.
Facebook.
The
PSW Facebook.
Yeah, we have a Facebook, the Positive Star Wars Facebook group too. So just at PSW Senate. That's our Facebook page, which Ryan runs, and then Steven runs the Facebook group for the Positively Star Wars Senate. But if you go on our Twitter, we actually just started a Discord, so we're trying to get people to join that, and we do have a portion for I Like That Too that we just put up. So it'd be good to interact, get some ideas. If you guys have any ideas for any future shows for I Like That Too, because me and Ryan are trying to figure out what we're going to do the next one about, since we like doing the Batman one. So
and honestly, it is kind of difficult to find things. It's like to get a good discussion for rather than, oh, I like that too. Well, I also like that. Well, there's really nothing to discuss then. So if it's movies and stuff where it's good ideas, bad ideas. Board games, I think, was a great idea by you, where it's something that we were both crazily doing at the time, and it's like, why wouldn't we talk about this?
Yeah. And I'm trying to get you into Pokemon. So
I will definitely, when the kid comes back from his vacation, then I'm definitely going to try to look for one in the summer for our comic shop and try to be more involved with local comic shops.
Well, see, if he has the code cards for the online, then I can friend you on there, and we can just play on there, and we could probably chat via Skype or something, and I'll just instruct you what to do. That'd be like the easiest way for you to learn. So
yeah, we might need tips on how to build a deck, but I know it's him going to try to learn that stuff, and then hopefully he kind of gets behind it. Otherwise, he's just big into, as I was into baseball and basketball and all that stuff.
Oh, I have tons of old baseball cards or basketball cards too.
Yeah.
I think I have a Reggie Miller rookie card somewhere laying around. But no, this is good, yeah. So anybody has suggestions, let us know. catch us online or in the Facebook group or on Twitter. We're gonna be here. So we'll probably hopefully we can do another one of these next month. We'll try to find another topic.
Yeah, whatever kind of pops up, we're like, yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So sounds good. That's a good one. Yeah, I agree. Fun and family fun nights is good for everybody.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time we have one of these.
All right, good talking to you.
All right.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
I like F. I like F.
It's 4 in the morning, Grandma. You win!